Hello, hello, and welcome to Connect In. Connect In is a weekly conversation about the importance of getting out of your head and back into your heart. I'm your host, Damini Celebrate, and I am really glad you're here. I appreciate you taking the time to check in with yourself, to give yourself your heart a little bit priority throughout the day. Because, life is busy. And when life is busy, especially as women, we kind of put everybody else's needs in front of ourselves. So, again, I really am so glad you're here. So, this month we are exploring the inner game, how to recognize it, what it is, and how to manage living a heart centered life through whatever life throws your way, right? And I'm about to have a technology moment, excuse me. Right? This is actually a really beautiful example of what happens. Of what happens when you start talking about coming out of your head and into your heart. Something distracts you. So I know some of you can think, well, that was just technology, right? But no, I really believe that what is going on inside us actually does reflect into our day-to-day world. So for an example, if you are in a really good mood, life is easy when you're out there. If you are kind of really contemplating or kind of struggling with yourself, don't you find when you're out in the world, you're bumping into things and banging into things, or there's just a lot of traffic or something like that? I really do believe that what is happening in our inner landscape is reflected in our outer landscape as well. So think about that, right? Okay, so we were talking about the inner game. We were talking about getting out of our head and back into our heart, right? And the very first, and I believe one of the most important things that we can do for ourselves is give ourselves some space to come inside, right? Each of you are going to do this in your own beautiful, unique way. For me, I like to light a candle or imagine I'm lighting a candle. Use a little incense or sage. Open up all my senses, right? Because our body, we are a body sensed being, right? And when we are connecting in with our senses, we're engaging our intuition and we're engaging instinct, and more cultivated is intuition. So, that being said, just give me a minute to light a candle. You can go ahead and imagine yourself lighting a candle. The brain doesn't distinguish between what we imagine and what we do. And you can ask any elite athlete about that. Here we go. So let's start the beautiful experience of coming inside first. This is how we manage the inner game. First, we gotta come back into our body. So soften your eyes, unless you're driving, then keep your eyes soft and pay attention to the road. Soften your eyes. Bring your awareness to your breath. Bring your breath down to your belly. Bring that breath down to your hips. Feel the weight of your body, your butt, on the chair, on the seat. Bring that breath now from your hips all the way down through your legs to your feet. Feel the place where you touch the earth. Wiggle your toes and breathe deeply. Imagine your breath coming all the way down from your head, through your body, down your legs, and into your feet. Your feet are the furthest thing from your head. So when you feel like your brain is getting twirly, woulda, shoulda, coulda, woulda, bring your breath down to your feet. first way to begin the inner game. The next step in understanding your inner game is to understand how and who is talking to you. So the first people have this story about two wolves. One wolf is on one side, whispering all about the goodness that you are. The other wolf is on the other side, whispering what a shit you are, basically. Clearly, I'm paraphrasing this story, but it's a really beautiful metaphor. Who are you listening to? Right? All of us have had an experience of having our mind telling us that we're not good enough, we don't know enough, we don't, and you all can fill in the blank, right? Because, this is part of the human condition. It could also be that you don't look like everybody else. You're too blah. We can go on and on and on about that. But it's important to know who's talking to you. And it's super easy when you're like, you are amazing. You are extraordinary. I love the way you look. You look amazing. You feel amazing. And, it's easy to know what wolf is talking to you there, right? But it's a little trickier when and how to manage the other wolf who is going down the rabbit hole and really telling you a whole bunch of things. And the way that you manage that is connecting into your body and connecting into your heart's yes. So what's your heart's yes? Your heart's yes is this sensation in your body that resonates right or true or easily said yes, versus that kind of contracting feeling or that uneasy feeling or I'm not really quite sure feeling of no. Right? So if we go back to the conversation where we are a body sensed being, right? And to navigate the inner game, what we need to do is come back into our body and feel into all those sensations, emotions, everything that your body is telling you. Because I believe our body is the roadmap for our transformation. And it guides us by feelings and sensations. Right? Let me say that one more time. Our body holds the roadmap for our transformation, and it guides us by feelings and sensations. Right? And again, we've had that experience where something feels right and it just resonates through your whole body. Again, these are the easier things to feel, especially when these things don't mean a whole bunch. They're not really high on the critical I must know list, right? So a really good example is, what do I want to wear today? What makes you happy when you look at it, put it on? I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm like, put something on. No, that doesn't feel right. No, that doesn't feel right. And I'll end up with 5 or 6 shirts all over the place because I'm trying to find the one that feels right. In a way, that's a real simple description of how your body is saying yes, right? And then how it says no when it's just like, that doesn't feel right. So your body guides you by sensations, right? By emotions, by feelings. And when the thing doesn't mean a lot, when you're managing, again, clothes, or what do you feel like eating, right? It's easy to know when you feel like yeah or no. But let's check in, let's move in a little bit more into what that no is. How does that show up in your being uniquely for you? And I think the easiest way to do this is Let's do a little exercise, a little yes no exercise, so you can get a body, mind, spirit, muscle memory of what this feels like. Okay, so again, close your eyes, soften your eyes, soften the space between your third eyes. Bring your breath from your head to your chest, to your belly, to your feet, right? The beautiful ritual of coming inside. And do a quick moment and notice how your body feels. And say to yourself, my name is, and again, say the name that you go by. You could say it out loud or just in your mind. And notice how your body responds. Okay. Now go ahead and say your name is, but go out with a name that's totally different than you. I use the name Harry. And when I say the name Harry, my name is Harry, there is a particular sense of how my body feels. Okay, go ahead and say your name is. Go by the name that you like to, and say the name that you like to go by. Notice all the feelings and sensations, even the really fleeting ones, the quick ones. Go ahead and now say my name is, and do an opposite name. Again, notice the quick sensations that happen in your body. Maybe you feel heavier, more contracted. Just notice. See if you can come up with 3 words for that yes and 3 words for that no. And if you can, write them down. Beginning to develop your heart's yes is kind of the way that we navigate everything. And the way through your transformation is by listening to your body. Transformation simply means that you are growing and evolving into the best, most authentic person you can be. And that doesn't happen overnight. It happens with loving time. So you have a sense of your yes, no. Okay, so now let's move over back to those 2 wolves, right? Again, it's super easy to know when that wolf is telling you about your goodness, right? You kind of feel more like that yes. You may feel that sensation moving through your body. And when that other wolf is talking to you, perhaps you can check in with that and notice how your body is responding to that. The less you are asking about things that don't matter, that are not life or death, the easier and more clear your yes and no's are going to be. And that is the perfect place to start. When you start asking big questions, should I change my job, change my relationship, move, these really big things, they're a little trickier and they take time and trust in the wisdom of your body, in your inner guidance. So let's play a little game, right? Because why not? So you have a kind of sense of your yes and you have a sense of your no. And think to yourself, I would love a cup of tea. Notice how your body feels. Is it in that yes mode or is it in that no mode? I really invite you this week to explore the simple yes nos that you can ask, because what you're trying to do, get a felt sense of how your body is talking to you. Understanding your heart's yes, especially to navigate your 2 wolves, is paramount. To follow your heart's yes helps you navigate these 2 wolves. And when you do, you can easily or more easily follow your roadmap towards being your brightest, best self. Pretty cool, huh? So I want to end this with a little bit of a story. And as you can imagine, I've been exploring this yes no, working with the inner game for a long time, probably almost 30 years. And, at a certain point, you think there's the problem right there, right in the head, right? You think that you are in control of your mind and your heart are speaking to you. But over the weekend, I was doing some work that really dropped me into a very wide open heart space. And it was beautiful. I felt amazing. I mean, of course, it's just like when you are high on the magnificence of you, like you feel unstoppable. And that night, I was starting to go to sleep, and the other wolf, I don't really want to call it the bad wolf, but the other wolf started going on about what a shit I was. I mean, when I tell you it was so intense, it went on for about 6 hours. I couldn't sleep. And all that kept looping in my mind is, you're not good enough, you lost your magic, blah, blah, blah. I mean, just crazy stuff. And when I finally opened my eyes when the sun came up, I started free writing, which I think is an amazing tool for the heart, just to start writing out what you're feeling. And I just started writing everything that my mind was telling me. Here's the thing, and I think it's important to know this, it's not about banishing your mind. It's not about pushing all the things that you don't like about yourself into a closet. That only creates stagnation and pent up weird energy that can actually lead to illness from an energetic standpoint. What's important is that you learn to recognize who's talking to you, and you learn to manage, incorporate, align with the story so you don't get waylaid by this bad wolf or the inner critic. So I did a lot of free writing back to that night, an enormous amount of free writing, and it was almost embarrassing for myself to write down all the things that I was telling myself. But I knew it was important to give it expression, to give it voice, because otherwise I'm just stuffing it down inside me. And I know well enough that that can create illness, right? So I just kept writing and I kept writing. And when I was done, the last thing I wrote is like, I need a brain intervention because my brain was so out of control. I didn't know how I would go through the day. And then I went and had breakfast, and I was just staying in all the feelings and sensations I was experiencing, just being present with myself. And after a while, I felt that wide open heart space start to be present again. And the other wolf, or my inner critic, stopped yammering on. There's several reasons I tell you the stories. One is it's not a one and done experience, right? The body, our body leads us, our body is guiding us. And when we listen truly to our feelings and sensations, our body knows what needs to be cleared, what needs to be looked at. And it's just about giving yourself the opportunity to say, oh, this is a really big moment. And so, following your body language, giving space for what's stuck by drawing or painting or free writing, all helps you process these inner demons. It helps you not push everything off to the side. So I tell you this story because it's not that I'm like just a couple steps ahead of you. I am here to help guide you through exploring the inner game, sharing with you tools for the heart so that you can be your brightest, best self. But keep exploring this yes no. Be mindful of who's talking to you. Give some space to express what is happening in your body. So when my inner critic kicks in, I eat corn chips. So when I realize that I am like binging on corn chips, okay, I still binge on the corn chips, but I stop and then I just pause and I put my hands on my heart I do that breath, belly, feet, and just check in with myself. Like, what is going on? And I'm not going to ask my mind because my mind's going to be like, everything is fine, everything is groovy. You come into your body, it's like, what in my body feels contracted? Where in my body do I feel a discord, a tightness? And from there, I actually just pick up a pen and start doing some free writing. So there's a lot of levels of what I've talked about today, and I apologize for going all over the place a little bit, but that is the navigation of coming from head to heart, head to heart, head to heart. There's a lot of different ways to manage the inner critic, the inner game. I'm sure I'll be chatting about this a lot over the next couple weeks, months, years. But for now, I invite you to know this. When your inner critic, or that bad wolf, if you will, is really present, you are on a precipice of change. You're in a transformational place. I believe the transformational place is that you're learning to live from a heart-centered place, right? And that's a little scary for the mind because the mind wants to be in control. The way that we move forward is having our mind and our heart aligned. But first, we have to recognize who's running the show. Who's running this game? And you can do that by exploring your inner game, your yes, no, and then just being mindful of who's talking. And if you want, you can sit down and say, okay, who's talking? Maybe it's your good wolf. How do you feel that in your body? Do a little free writing or journaling. What does that show up like? Do it for the other side too. How does my body feel when the bad wolf or my inner critic is present? Do some free writing. Where is that in my body? Do I feel that inner critic resonating with? Clearly, this is a really big discussion. I offer a lot of programs that help manage your inner critic, help you find your heart's yes. And it's through this beautiful discovery of embodied creativity. When we explore these unconscious things, the best way to deal with the unconscious things is to work with tools that drop into our unconsciousness. Shamanism, energy medicine, embodied creative practices. They are the pillars that allow you to live your soul's truth. So there's a lot I just shared with you today. Again, take it all in, listen to the recording a couple times, and just be with all that's present. Do some free writing or drawing or movement. Let both the inner critic have some space. Because I sometimes think that we make our inner critic out to be this big, bad monster. And really, when you shine a little light on it, just like the monster under your bed when you were a kid, it really is just a dust bunny. So when you give space and expression to what's stuck, it actually takes the charge off. Yeah. So you can find more connect-ins on my website at diminicelebrate.com. It's also available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. There is a wealth of information on my blog at diminicelebrate.com. So I thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a brilliant day. Explore those wolves, and feel free to comment, share, reach out. Let me know how this is resonating with you.